Hello, hello. Hi. It is I, Lucid Creator. Welcome to a small little side series on this channel, which I like to call Critical Look Corner. So, if you're familiar with me on Cherry's bad content streams, I'm the guy who, well, while I do the tech stuff, I also rant way too much. And so I thought, in order to make these streams a little better, to where I'm not just taking up 15 minutes at random tangents, just going off about how bad certain writing is, I thought it'd be easier if I condense down my thoughts in the streams, make it very quick, very easy, and then make longer formed content as side little videos you can watch if you're interested. This is also totally not just to get Cherry more views. I swear, it's totally just me ranting about stuff. It's totally not just extra ways to get Cherry views. No. It's totally me just ranting. Just ranting, just a little ranting. Anyways, I thought I'd come here today to talk about a previous series we went over. That being, let me pull it up. The Zootopia, oh geez. The Zootopia fan comic. Oh god. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. The Zootopia fan comic by Borba. We went over all three comics, and apparently there might be like future content and such. But as far as we know, we're done with this series. And I thought, thinking back on it, I wanted to come back and really kind of like look into this and just see how bad it is. Because there's some things that can be said about this comic series. Specifically the first and second issue. The third issue, or I guess third part, kind of is its own. Well, to be honest, it's kind of just a random side story. It's so disconnected from the plot here that it just feels so bizarre. It doesn't feel fitting. That's not necessarily a compliment or a negative. That's just kind of how it is, because this, let's just say, this series is not the best for. We'll get into that. But if you're already familiar with this series, I don't really need to delve into it. But if you are not familiar with it, I would recommend going and watching our streams covering it. It was a really good time. Really terrible comic though. But besides that, I'm gonna be doing some unscripted reading over this. So I want to make it clear two things. One, these videos, obviously, like I mentioned, they're not going to be scripted, but they're also not going to be like I'm not editing them or anything. I'm doing them straight off the top of my head. I'm doing. You can kind of see me going live with the editing here. Also, yes, my PNG tuber, I can control it as I wish. But the second thing worth noting is I'm going to assume that you have already read the comics. This being the first and second comic, I'm not really going to take the third into consideration, but just in case it might help give a little bit of context. So if you are not familiar with this and you don't want to be spoiled, which, to be fair, I don't really know why you would care about spoilers for this series, but if you don't want to be spoiled, this is not the right video to look into. This is if you've already looked over it, this is a video to come back to and kind of get a better look at just why it is. So, you could probably skip ahead a little bit if you actually want to get to it, but why am I doing this of all people? What credentials do I have? Well, one, I am a studying English major, studying to be a teacher, so I have to do this for my own sake, if anything, because let me just be honest, if I don't, I'll just fucking scream into the void. But the second reason is I'm familiar with Zootopia enough. Like, I've seen it a handful of times, maybe, when I was younger. I want to say maybe 3 times I've seen it. I know I've seen it once, but, like, the other times I've kind of seen it off and on here and there. So, I have a decent understanding of the characters that are in this. And we're going to be doing both the I Will Survive #1 and the forgot the name of the other one. I will look at it real quick. Born to be Alive. We're also going to be doing Born to be Alive in this one. Like I said, this is unscripted. This is just kind of going through it. Uh, just kind of whatever. If you don't want to watch this, that's fine. This is just a closer look. This is an addendum piece. This is like I said, totally not a way to get cherry views. I'm just saying. Anyways, yes, let's begin, shall we? So I haven't seen this in a while. I'm going in kind of fresh on this, but I still kind of remember points. So we're not gonna go over point for point. We're just gonna kind of look at each individual thing and comment as we will. So start off here, blah blah blah. Judy does her thing. She knows that she's pregnant. She gets to Nick. So this happens here. You know, we're trying to get this going, and this little thing here is where it kind of starts off. So what I want to make clear about this little scene here and why it matters a lot is how it sets up the dynamic between these two characters. So imagine if you've never seen Zootopia, all right? Imagine if you've never seen Zootopia and you come into this. I want to ask, what are your perspectives on these characters? You see that, okay, one of these characters is pregnant, right? And the other one's asleep, and they come in like, hey, I need you to wake up. I need to talk to you about this serious thing. And the other one's, lazy, kind of dismissive of it. And then this happens. Now, what shocks me about it is, from what I could tell, this seems like kind of, I don't want to say abusive yet, but it does feel like kind of toxic. Like, this isn't, we see that little star, so that's a little symbol to show that, like, he's either dazed or kind of in pain. I want to assume that is not just a sleeping thing, because as we see here, there's no other indications of them being dazed or sleepy or whatever other than like the letters here. And hopefully you can see my mouse. I don't know. But if you see the lettering here, you'll see that, he's snoring, there's more snoring, he's sleeping, and we see certain lines here in this bottom left panel right here where Judy is telling Nick to wake up. He's showing signs of not wanting to wake up, and we see those little lines indicating that either Judy is trying to move him or he is moving over, like slightly moving himself. It can be seen there. And then we get that little indication she's starting to shake. So it's not, that's an indication of shaking. There's visible signs of both of them being stressed out. He's then showing stressed out in the scene to the right of that, and then you see those stars there. To me, I'm seeing signs of he's slightly in pain. Like, obviously she's pulling back his mouth, and while he doesn't acknowledge that he's in pain, you can kind of see that he's grabbing at his mouth, so he obviously recognizes that something happened there. It's not just like a passive thing. He clearly felt that. And we do know this is not a dazed or sleepy thing when we look at the next panel right here on the left. Here, he's like groggy, kind of sleepy. And this also looks slightly... Was this traced on the far left? I don't know. Anyways, so we know that this is kind of over the top, but at the moment, I can't really say much about that, because while, yes, technically you could say that's toxic and abusive to, like, assault your partner like that, at the moment, this is going off as Zootopia that is a children's cartoon, and I can accept the slapstick elements of it. It's a little over the top. It's kind of, it's a little serious, but it's also a little bit funny, So we continue along. There's some banter back and forth, and this kind of fits Nick's character. So far, what I'm seeing fits Nick's character of, he's lazy a little bit. He doesn't exactly want to, like, respond, and then he kind of, like, makes this little jab of, like, may I take a shower and do other things before you ruin the rest of my day. Clearly, it's just it's a little banter, because, like, as soon as he takes a shower, he seems to be fine, and he seems happy. He seems like he's genuinely like, okay, cool, what's up? What you want to talk about? Because now that you have allowed me to properly wake up and get ready, I am I am ready to engage with your discussion. And so we see then the phase in on Judy. She's attentive in the left thing, but then I don't know the word. It's almost like shame or fear in this. I would say it's probably shame because let's see here. In the other ones, even when she's scared, like even up here when she says yes, I think it'd be good, or yes, it'd be good, I think, she still has her ears up. And okay, so the only other times I'm seeing her ears down are in this one, this on the far right, on both sides actually. But actually, I think that's her moving. Um, and she also pulls her ears back when she's angry. But anyways, so maybe she's just coming out of that. But it's only when she's like when she's really in the most stressed situation, it looks like, that she pulls her ears back. So there's a correlation there. Um, so then Nick is shocked, isn't entirely believing it. The sign there happens, and I have to imagine when she's really sad, depressed, and accepting of the moment, and like pulls it out, her ears are down. There's some signs you can see about her body, her behavior, I guess. Um. So yeah, I'm just kind of reading through here. She's been serious, and so she goes from depressed to shocked, and Nick is really happy. He's saying he's happy. Obviously, there's signs of it. I will say for visuals, I'm not sure how I feel. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Something on my end. My bad. Uh, I'm not sure how I feel about the artistic decision to have very visible hearts on the left there, because the hearts in the background kind of do that job. So I'm not sure what the decision was to add the hearts on the front, because the tears and the hearts in the background kind of give it away already. I think it would have been fine without the hearts. Also, we're gonna get into a little thing later when we go into Born to Be Alive, but as far as I've seen so far, we're not getting into this weird uncanny valley face territory other than this one on the far left. Everything else is kind of like kept to model and kept to how the characters actually look, except maybe a few things about Judy is like looks slightly off, like in that one. But everything else kind of looks like how she does. And Nick is kept pretty close to model, so I think everything's kind of fine for these characters. I think what it is it's the cheeks on Judy that look a little weird. But I'm rambling. I'm supposed to be talking about the story, not the visuals here. My bad, my bad. All right. So Nick is really, really happy. I don't know what the background is supposed to be here, but it clearly is supposed to, like, I think what it is it's a swirling that's translated off of the hearts here. So there's a hearts here, and then they start swirling as I'm assuming he's like moving around, kind of twirling her around a bit, so I can kind of see what the intent is here. And then okay. So let's see here. So she okay, I'm trying to like get her vibe. She doesn't want to she doesn't seem to be happy over the situation. Both of them show that little like sweat sign, like they're oops, or like nervous or whatever. She's nervous, she's stressed out, and she gets like super stressed out in that one moment. Um, okay, so I'm trying to. There's nothing new I can really comment here because we've gotten only up to here. This so far is kind of fine. I don't really have any comments so far, but it is kind of. It's funny how consistently inconsistent Judy looks. Like a lot of the times she's on model, but for some reason she just kind of It's the cheeks. It's the cheekbone whatever thing here. It keeps going off model, but Nick is fine enough. I think he's like very close. Okay. Okay. That's mean potential. Uh. Okay. So I do see, looking at it, what the author was, or the I guess the comic artist, whatever, was going for. Nick is kind of a little bit pushy here. Um, so he is being pushy, but I guess I can understand maybe of why he's being like so pushy, because he just got told in the moment, while still being like excited over the fact that they have a baby, that she doesn't want it. This is I would understand that, like, hey, I'm not someone who wants a child personally, so I guess easiest thing is, uh hey, me and my partner, hey, I just won the lottery, my partner would say, and I'd be like, oh my god, oh, this is amazing, awesome, and then they tell me, no, stop, I don't want the money. I'm just like, what? Why? Why do you want the money? What? Why would you want to give away the money? Like, hold on, I can make this more insane. Why would you not want the money? What? Why? Why? Why would you not want the money? What? I'm obviously over exaggerating. Point stands, though. So I can kind of understand in that situation. It's a lot more emotional for Nick here. But he doesn't exactly cut off Judy, but like, okay, so I don't want this child. He's shocked. No, I can't believe he said that. He's okay. So she's like, hear me out, but just like, tell me why would you not want it? And then he's like, okay, this is a little bit of annoying. Just like, let me explain, Nick. So explain yourself, author. You don't have to repeat yourself there, author. Come on. Anyways, so I understand that there's like a little thing here. There's no baby yet. I'm just in my first month of pregnancy, and you said, okay. Okay, so this is a little bit of a. I will say this is a little bit of an immature scene on Nick's part of just freaking out, but she does make a good point of just being like adults, and he does kind of display signs of being a little immature about this, but to be completely fair, I understand that, like, yeah, he's kind of jumping the gun on that. Looking at it closer, I can kind of see that there is a bit of a jumping the gun thing. The reason I mention that is because he's, in this span of time, I think the author thought that this was going a lot slower because they were going at the pace of drawing this and were looking at this very closely. But you have to keep in mind, author, that while you're reading this, you have to like keep the pacing in mind while you're reading this, because this could feel like days, if not weeks, to draw all this. I can completely understand that, but the pace we're going at is about that quick. So that's a series of emotions. That's very quick. And Judy, sure, she's reasonable of saying, like, hey, let's be adults about this. And I understand that Nick's being a little bit immature. But, author, keep in mind, pacing. It's important. Anyways, I'm going for fucking 18 minutes. Holy shit. Anyways, so he's like, okay, fine. Like, he's like, fine. Okay, I can understand that's probably the intent. And, wait, when did she get she got lines in her eyes? Wait, I'm confused. When did that happen? So, she seems stressed out somewhere. She starts stressed out here in this left one. Her eyes have like that little line underneath them. And then she continues to have them. She skips out on them here. I think that's more just that's a cheek thing there. It doesn't have it there. Doesn't have it there, but then she gets the stressed out lines going, stressed out eye lines here. Anyways, so yeah, up until this point, I would say that Okay, so for page 9, all the way from the beginning to page 9, I have to say that this is fine. This is a fine series. Up until page 9, like, once we end page 9, things go downhill. Just, just keep that in mind. It goes downhill really quick. But, regardless, from I guess page 1, I don't know. Is it page 1? I don't really know. Beginning to page 9. Not page 10 yet, just page 9. The series here is fine. It's an emotional, it's serious kind of thing. And both sides are kind of like, they have their own immaturities, they have their own seriousness about it, and there's a lot of tension, you know? I think so far, it's good. Keep in mind, I am saying from page beginning to page 9. This is fine so far. It's when we start getting into the arguments each side are making that one side clearly becomes not as favorable. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. But yeah, gosh, I am not. I'm not sure how I'm gonna take this. I might have to break this down into a two-parter because I'm going at a pretty slow pace here, looking at each individual part. You could tell you could tell by the timestamp why I had to do this as like a separate video to really give my thoughts, but let's continue. So I'm gonna go over point by point of what she says and try to do a close read on this. So she says, thanks. Well, at first I believed you. Okay, wait. Well, and so she pauses and then says, at first I believed you couldn't get me pregnant. There's a emphasis in bold on there. Couldn't get me pregnant. Not I believed you. Not I believed you couldn't get me pregnant. It was at first I believed you couldn't get me pregnant. There's an emphasis there by the author that's intentional. They wanted you to focus on specifically that's the emphasis of the line that Judy was wanting to say. Which to me reads like she's it's not so much that she believed specifically that she couldn't get pregnant, but the emphasis is falling on couldn't get me pregnant and not just believe. It's the belief part is passive there, while couldn't get me pregnant is direct. It's supposed to be bold, it's supposed to be direct there. So that's it's the fact that you get it was more of a fact in her mind and not just a belief, I guess. The pregnancy aspect. So then we see, yes, I do know there are some cases of interbreeding. Interbreeding's emphasized there. But they're extremely rare, so she's emphasizing extremely rare. Sorry. And none of them involved a couple formed by a pred and a prey. So she really emphasizes the pred and prey there. And then she says, so I foolishly believed we didn't have to take any precautions. I'm so sorry if you hear me in the mic sniffing there. Actually, give me 1 second. Sorry. My nose has been runny all day. I am very, very sorry. Anyways, you can tell that I didn't script this because I would have cut this out. Anyways, so the emphasis parts here: interbreeding, extremely rare, pred, prey, and precautions. So there's an emphasis there on interbreeding, extremely rare, pred, prey, and precautions. So I have to assume from that what she's trying to say. Obviously, it's forefront because the author is very bad at making subtext here. But the precautions. So the emphasis is she's focused on the interbreeding aspect, and she is focused on the precautions, focused on extremely rare, focused on pred and prey. She's not focused on the couple aspect. She's not focused on the none. She's focused on extremely rare. So it would have been interesting if there was an emphasis on none, because that would have crossed over with extremely rare. But it seems like that's not the focus of either the author or Judy, one of the two of them. So there's a bit of emphasis on there. And then she goes, but how wrong I was. Okay. I still don't understand why you, because I'm afraid. Okay. So there's an, okay, so we know that the emphasis is not just to be, it's what she decides to emphasize. The words there specifically, it's like, but how wrong I was because I'm afraid. So there's an emphasis there. So she, let's see how that would sound if I emphasize each of these. Yes, I do know there are some cases of interbreeding, but they're extremely rare, and none of them involved a couple formed by a pred and a prey. So she really wants to emphasize the difference between pred and prey there. That's what she's emphasizing. There's a difference between the races there. That's what she's saying. And then she says, so I foolishly believed we didn't have to take any precautions. Okay, so she's under the impression that they're two different types, that pred and prey are different. She has emphasized specifically that there's a difference between the two, and she, under this acknowledgement that they are two different types, she didn't think that there was any necessity to have any sort of, she didn't see it in the same vein as two people similar to her. So that's a bit, I could go in just the basic surface level of what she's saying, but this also gets into weird racist territory. Like, that, it's this kind of close reading you have to, like, pay attention to for what the author is trying to go for. You can't entirely, you're not going to be able to understand everything an author was saying just from a first read. You got to go back and look through it. You have to try to read between the lines. You have to try to make a few assumptions, and you're not always going to be right. Sometimes you're just going to be dead wrong, and that's completely fair. I could be wrong. I could be wrong right now, but from what the author has decided to put in front of me, I'm getting vibes that Judy has some underlying racism still left in her, and that is, in the context of Zootopia's world, I understand the reason that would happen. But at the same time, it's like, this is after Zootopia's ended. This is a while after, and they're in a relationship, and just something about this feels off. She still has some biases deep down in her. So that indicates a few things about her. Anyways, so let's see here. All right. So this is where I got pissed off before. Because I'm afraid of what? Well, in part I fear our child might be, pause, some kind of freak. And that is heavily emphasized there. That is heavily emphasized freak, which, let me just say, there are two reasons that annoys me. One is that you're jumping to assumptions that you cannot confirm and allowing that to be your fear going forward. That's your vocalized fear, is you're afraid of them being a freak. You're making judgments about your own child before they even have a chance. You haven't even gotten an ultrasound. You have no idea what they're like. Just the thought of, just the realization that you're pregnant with someone of a different race makes you fear that they're going to look like a freak. That's kind of fucked up, really. And the second reason that's really annoying is because Borba did art of what their children would have looked like, which makes this, going back to this, really, really fucked up. Don't you think, Borba? When you made the art of what Judy and Nick's children would have looked like if they had the children, I know you drew that because I saw it. And when I looked at it, I was like, what the fuck? If I'm able to find that image later on, I will link to it in the comments of this video. Or comments or description, whatever. But keep in mind, when you actually look at the image, and I probably have given you pretty ample time to go look up the image of what I'm talking about. But when you look at the image, you start to realize Borba's interpretation of it, as the artist who has decided how Judy is going to be in this, has effectively not only made Judy's entire thing null and void and made this entire conflict stupid, it has insulted the seriousness of this situation and made it a joke. The reason it was made a joke ultimately comes down to the fact that a big contention of Judy to not have the child was this conflict of, I don't want them because they might be disabled. They might look really fucked up looking. And then you drew them looking perfectly normal. So you got rid of your own conflict, Borba. You got rid of your own conflict and fucked up the entire plot. If you just never drew that, this wouldn't be as bad. But you chose to draw that. And that's fucked up. It makes it worse. In really, really terrible ways. Anyways. This gets worse, by the way. So, Judy's imagination gone wild. Yes, I do acknowledge, though, that this is a hyper... I guess hyper imagination in a state of shock. You're really freaking out. You just figured out that you're having this child. But the first thing that comes to mind when you just figured out that you're pregnant, you're now realizing, oh shit, I'm pregnant. Okay, I guess what might this look like? Oh shit, they might look like a freak. I guess I want to get rid of it. That's not the only reason, by the way. It's just think about that. Judy, think about that for a second. You, off of an entire hunch, and like yourself said, I'm going to scroll up here to prove what I'm saying. There's no baby yet, she says on the side. There's no baby yet. I'm just in my first month of pregnancy. You don't even have any confirmation of what the child might even look like. You have no idea what the child would be like. You haven't gone to a doctor. You haven't confirmed anything beyond a at-home pregnancy test. So for all we know, this isn't gonna... And we know now as the audience that you're bullshit. We know that you're wrong. So you let your imagination guide you into a bias based entirely on your racial prejudice that you've tried to get rid of to decide the future of your child against the father's will. The father doesn't have a say in this because you've already made a decision based on your own racial prejudice, Judy. Okay, let's keep reading. So, some kind of freak. You really think so? Nick is surprised. So, look at the difference between how Nick looks here. He's kind of like stern and kind of angry, like afraid of what? And then he goes here like, you really think so? Like he's surprising, like in kind of, he wants to kind of believe Judy. He's like, what? Really? Like that kind of thing. Like you don't actually mean that, do you? And then she says, why not? It isn't impossible. That's the weird, that's the weird thing, you know? She doesn't say, so she says, some kind of freak. In part, I fear our child might be. She says, why not? It isn't impossible. So you're banking the possibility of them being a freak on that. But there's a small little part here that annoys me because of comments I saw, and it's the panel on the right here. She says, moreover, a baby of yours might be a little too big for me. So that's a justified fear, right? The fear that the baby may be too big and might actually damage her. That's a justified fear. But you want to notice something here? Look at every other speech bubble. Even the speech bubbles in here, in this one with all the other characters that are unnamed. Every single speech bubble. Do you notice something different about them? Every speech bubble is opaque. Every single speech bubble is an opaque white. These specifically for moreover and a little too big, those are translucent or transparent, I guess. Translucent is probably the more accurate. Those are translucent, meaning those are supposed to be said differently. That indicates either A, she is whispering that to herself or being very quiet and murmuring it, or B, most likely she is thinking this internally. Now, I'm going to confirm one thing real quick. I'm going to scroll up to the top and look at the beginning. Okay, so she's not doing the same here. So I can't entirely confirm. This is entirely a theory at the moment because it's not confirmed at the top if she's also internally monologuing. But it looks like here, most likely, at the moment, unless I'm wrong, that she's saying this internally or much, much quieter. She doesn't want to really say out loud. Specifically, she emphasizes too big there. She says, moreover, a baby of yours might be a little too big for me. Not just a little too big, just a little too big. Like, she really emphasizes that. Okay, so it's just, that's the weird thing. Why didn't she mention that? That's a little thing you have to think about for characters when you're reading dialogue. Why would they choose not to mention that? She clearly doesn't want the child. That's obvious. And she's trying to tell Nick about this stuff. But she chooses to say stuff like this, all this here, but chooses to restrict the one thing that's important about her body. She chooses to effectively be openly have issues about interbreeding. She has issues about their child being a freak, and we also see another thing later. Oh my god, what the fuck? Yeah, we see another thing that's equally more frustrating. But here, she chooses specifically to keep this segment quiet. So the reason I brought up earlier the thing that annoyed me was the comments. This thing here. The comments were mentioning that this little thing that Nick was being unreasonable because it was a threat to her life or whatever. And yet, Nick had no idea about this as far as we know. So, what annoys me is what it's trying to do is read it like this to that panel. But as far as us, as the audience would know, yes, that panel. But imagine if we were in Nick's position. We would see her saying, why not, it isn't impossible. And then Nick would automatically go to, you don't know that for sure. Judy has not mentioned the visual, has not verbally mentioned the aspect of her possibly having a health risk in this. And yet, commenters seem to, really point to this point as Nick was being unreasonable. Yet Judy doesn't mention that. Judy does not speak about that. So, how can Nick be blamed for saying that Judy's being unreasonable when she hasn't mentioned her own physical health issues and any sort of thing like finance and that yet? If that was a concern, sure, but she's only mentioned the possibility of what the child might look like, how the child might be. She hasn't mentioned anything about, what if I have a risk of health, or what if we don't have the finances to, or what if we're not prepared to take care of this child? That stuff has not been mentioned. And will not get to be mentioned except for one thing that will piss me off and whenever we get to it. All right, so he says, you don't know for sure. She says, nobody knows, and it scares me. And then he says, so what you're saying is, hey, Nick, even if you can get me pregnant, I don't want to have any children with you. Did I hit the mark, Judy? Uh, so I'm trying to do a little close read here. I think he's misreading what she's saying. Yeah, but again, I can agree that yeah, he's misreading, but I'm the one doing the close read here, not him. I completely understand that he misunderstands, and I'm kind of on his side. Still, remember, the reader will go at the pace of this. Not at the pace of, okay, let's look at this panel. All right, now let's look at this panel. Like, no. That's not how the average person's gonna be reading this. So the pacing would be a lot quicker, and your mind's probably gonna be going a lot quicker at this stuff. So, did I hit the mark, Judy? Nick, I should have had this talk with you earlier, and I'm really sorry for not doing so. And you have no idea how hard it is for me to have to tell you these things. But I must say that there is another good reason. Is good emphasized there? I can't. Oh fuck. Oh no, what did I do? God damn it. Nah, I hate that. Give me a second. I gotta scroll back. I hate when I was trying to click something else and I just fucked it up. All right, so I can't tell if good is emphasized there, but I know reason is emphasized. I actually hold on. I did it again. Okay, shit. I'm gonna try to zoom in. To me, it looks like good is also emphasized, but it's kind of hard. It looks like it's leading up from saying but I must say that there is another good reason. So she's slowly emphasizing into reason. That's the main focus. Ah, god damn it, I have to do it again. I know, it's terrible. Why don't I edit this? Ah, man, Lucid is a terrible tech man. God, this guy. Why does he have any connection on this show? Fuck, this dude's stupid. Anyways, so I must say that there is another good reason, and it is my career. Okay, this is a little bit weird of a scene because I see that what it's supposed to be doing here is Nick's supposed to be looking here in a way that Judy specifically is supposed to be highlighted for this scene. I get that. But there's a weird issue with the lighting here that makes me think this is beyond just a shock thing. This is feeling like with the lighting and how Nick is in the dark here, and there's a beam of light coming from her, that this is supposed to be a positive revelation. It's a very important revelation. And when I say positive, I don't necessarily mean good, I mean an addition. So there's an additional information added here that's supposed to be important. And Nick goes from stoic and frustrated to very shocked in the next panel. You can tell by the difference in his eyes and how he gains that little sweat mark, which Borba loves to use the sweat mark way too much. Oh my gosh. Why does Borba use so much sweat? You could fill up a cup with that. Jeez. Anyways, so let's look at her argument for her career. And this gets stupid. Again, pay attention to the bold letters here. What things get bolded, what things Judy, or I guess Borba. Also, you just noticed the background just reset. My bad, it's a video. But yeah, what things Borba or Judy, I guess, really, really wants to make emphasized important. So let's look at that. So here it says, what? And she says, you know, I'm about to be promoted to lieutenant, and if I accept this risky pregnancy, my career will be halted for months or even years, or years, or even forever in the worst case scenario, if I suffer any sequela or an ill-fated pregnancy. I need to look at what sequela is because I don't know what that means off the top of my head. So let me look this up. Sequel. Sequela. Sequela? Sequel. Sequelae. Sequelae or sequela? I cannot pronounce. A condition which is the wait. A condition which is the consequence of a previous disease or injury. What does sequela mean? Medical term. An after effect of a disease, condition, or injury. So she's afraid she might catch a disease or injury. Hold on. For an example, development of osteoarthritis in a left knee joint, which had previously suffered a splint articular surface, and I don't know what that means. What does sequela of trauma mean? A residual effect of a disease, injury, or mental condition, often but not necessarily in the form of persistent or permanent impairment. Sequela in... I'm going to look up sequela in sequelae in pregnancy. What? So what are some common complications of pregnancy? High blood pressure? No. This isn't bringing up anything specific. It's just pregnancy complications. So I think what they're saying is pregnancy complications that would end up damaging her. So she's afraid of her body being harmed because of the pregnancy. But she frames it around... So what's the emphasized part here? Promoted to lieutenant, risky pregnancy, career be halted forever. Worst case scenario, if I suffer any pregnancy trauma or of an if I suffer any sequela of an ill-fated pregnancy, so any trauma, any stress, shock, stuff like that. So if she has in the worst case scenario, she has a terrible pregnancy that hurts her body for the rest of her career, for the rest of her life, basically. So that's a little weird, but I understand that she may be like stressed. Oh my god, what did I do? Did something weird on my end, my bad. So her stress is that God, I don't know how to respond to this, because this is... So her fear is a worst case scenario fear about the pregnancy and how it affects her. But her fear is she's about to be promoted to lieutenant, and that it might be halted if the pregnancy goes wrong. My thought here is, why does she need to be on the field or like active duty when she can like just be from home and organize stuff? Because keep in mind, if you've read the third one, you know she becomes a mayor. Mayor ain't gonna be going around doing like a lot of physical labor anytime soon. So it's really hard to like mention just why that's so fucked up thinking without having to get into the second part. So it's not only my life and my career that are in danger here, Nick. I became a symbol and inspiration to those small mammals out there who also want to help make Zootopia a better place to live. The more I am successful in my career, the more they get confident in their own abilities. For this cause and to make this dream come true, I did my best and sacrificed many things. I don't want to let these achievements slip through my fingers like sand. So let me say why this is stupid. Let me say why her argument's stupid here. Judy's entire thing and what she does in Zootopia in the movie is try to make Zootopia a better place and try to improve, if not fix, the relations between predator and prey. It's a movie about racial issues, social issues, stuff like that. It's a movie about racism and racial issues. So, in the closest real world equivalent, she's essentially trying to bring together the majority and the minorities. Um, Racially, I'm speaking. And so her whole thing was trying to. That was her more her whole. I can't speak. Her whole moral set. And under this assumption, my thought is, hey, you want to be you became a symbol to inspire those small mammals out there who also want to help make Zootopia a better place to live. So she wants to be a symbol. She has become a symbol, and she says the more successful in my career, the more they get confident in their own abilities. So cool, yeah. You're a small mammal. You're making a difference, helping people out. Yeah, and part of that is the racial issues, racial social issues in Zootopia. Here's a thing you gotta keep in mind, Jude. Your child between Nick would, in this situation, further that. It would make the whole thing much, much better for your cause. You want to know why? Because your whole thing was to try to fix or improve racial relations in Zootopia, to remove the bias and issues of predator and prey, to try to make everyone come together in harmony, kind of thing. And in my mindset, a symbol, a person who acts as a symbol of improving race relationships, if they had a child, if they were a predator, or if they were a prey and had a child with a predator, regardless of if it harmed them, and they were known as the first person in Zootopia to have a predator and prey baby, and were known already to be a very positive influence on Zootopia, don't you think that would basically make you a lot bigger and more important of a symbol, even if you died doing this? Think of the story. Think of the news story that would come from that, and how insane, like, socially that would be. You're already going up to the top. You would have already been a lieutenant. And your whole thing is, despite my risk of this, despite everything, I wish to have this child to show Zootopia that it is possible to even further improve race relationships, that I am happy having this child, that it is for the good of everyone, and that I want to show that it is possible. Think of how that would improve not only it would make people even more confident in you, but it would make you look like even more of a perfect symbol. It would effectively make you Zootopia's Mother Teresa. It would make you a fantastic symbol. If your whole thing is you acknowledge that you want to be a symbol, or like that you are a symbol, and that you want to continue this symbol by sacrificing many things, why would you not sacrifice your own? Sacrifice part of yourself to improve other aspects. But rather doing that, you have acknowledged that you do sacrifice, and you don't want to let these achievements that you have slip through your hands because you've sacrificed so much. So, what's stopping you here from sacrificing further? Suddenly, now you're selfish. And I know that sounds fucked up of me to say that she's selfish, but keep in mind here what I have said so far. Her entire motive is based in already acknowledging that she's become a symbol and wanting to keep that symbol status. Let's read this again. I became a symbol, an inspiration to those small mammals out there who also wanted to make Zootopia a better place to live. The more successful in my career, the more they get confident in their own abilities. She did not emphasize career, she emphasized successful. The more successful in my career, the more they get confident in their own abilities. For this cause and to make this dream come true, I did my best and sacrificed many things. Yet she doesn't want to sacrifice herself. She will sacrifice everything except herself. I don't even know what to say about that. Just this is what makes me not like Borba's character. She's supposed to be the protagonist. She's when I say protagonist specifically, I mean she's supposed to be the leading role in this. But she's also supposed to be the character that ultimately Borba's supposed to make you feel sympathetic for. Because while sure the ending has certain things to say, the ending of the next one of which sadly we might have to make this into a part 2. I'm so sorry. We're going to make this into a part 2. But in Born to Be Alive, I think that's what it is. Yeah. Born to Be Alive, she ends up being the good guy in all this. Or at least what Borba's trying to make her be the good guy. And just your good guy is inconsistent. Your good guy is only willing to sacrifice for the benefit of themselves up until the point that they're no longer going to get something out of it. Just this is what I mean that she's selfish. She will only sacrifice up to the point that she no longer gets something in the end. She'll sacrifice to help out other people, to be a symbol, all this stuff. But once it affects her ability to have a future career or whatever, despite how much it might improve the symbol status of her, she doesn't want it. Her selfishness overtakes her. And it's what ruins her character in this, honestly. It's one of the major things that ruins her character. But it gets worse, yeah. But it's like this is ultimately the big point to emphasize how terrible this is. This is really just what shows her true colors. And Nick is going to bring that up. But just it gets worse. Okay. I've been talking a lot and I'm just getting tired just thinking about this. When I start coming back to this stuff, it really, really digs into me just how terrible this character is. How horrible this character is. And how much of a character assassination it was from the original Zootopia. Judy was willing to sacrifice her own self, her own body, for the greater good, and now she doesn't want to do that. There were scenes in the original movie where she was willing to do whatever it takes, sacrifice anything, even if it risked her own life, for the greater good. And this just suddenly shifts her character. Now it's no longer about doing the right thing to make everything a better place. It's just what makes her look better. You fucked up the character, Borba. You fucked it up. And it's what slightly makes her becoming a mayor in the end just all the more frustrating. Anyways, moving on. So, this is where Nick says his line. That's it. Your career. I should have known you were going to throw it in my face, but you surprised me, Judy. I thought I knew you, but I was wrong. Or, actually, hold on. I thought I knew you, but I was wrong. You don't have the right to say that to me. That the way that this is emphasized here is she is either trying to struggle to say hold on. She's trying to struggle to like have a say in that because well actually she's talked so much. She's struggling to like she may think he's actually right here. Like I'm actually a little bit surprised. I think the emotion here is the intent may be to make her look like she's struggling like hold on, wait, no, like she may have misspoken or something, and she's just like, wait, no, you can't say that. But I think most likely from what we're about to see that no, that's not what she's saying. And then she starts yelling down at Nick with this. You know who I am. You know what I am. You know what's at stake for me since we first met. What do you mean? And you know full well that I did everything for my career. No, you didn't. You fuck. You wanted to be a real police officer in the beginning, not because you wanted the fame and the fortune for the career. You wanted to help out other small mammals and help out the community and make Zootopia a better place. Yes, I do know. It seems like you could even kill our baby for your career. I mean, he's right. That he's 100% right. That Judy should not be as shocked as she looks here. Because he's right. He is 100% right. That's what you're doing, Judy. You are afraid that that you would lose your career. And so you'd rather get rid of the baby specifically for your career. Sure, there are other reasons, but the first one was just entirely insulting the child. The second reason was insulting race relations, which you're trying to fix. And third was not spoken. You didn't mention that it was a physical issue of yours. You only mentioned that there was... Well, no, later on you did mention that it might hurt you and you might get damaged, but you also followed it up heavily with your career. You bookended it from the start and at the middle and end about it all being your career. And then just this happens. Oh, it's the missing panel. You know, the panel where she slaps Nick. Let's see. Oh, shit. Ha ha ha. Slap. Let's look at that. Page 14 and 15. Yeah. No. Fuck off. Yeah, that's the missing panel. Well, she's so angry, she slaps Nick. Hold on. Let's look at this. So, I'm trying to understand. Some about what Borba is thinking. Because ultimately, Judy is made out to be the hero in the end of this series. She's made out to be in the best position at the end of this series because of the middle issue, Born to Be Alive. It's this that just throws me for a loop. She's a terrible person. But yet, Borba is trying to make her look like a really, really... She's trying to be sympathetic in this, I guess. That's what Borba's trying to intend, is make her be sympathetic. And I'm just... We need to go back. Because Nick is 100% correct when he said that certain line. I'm going to scroll back down. Yeah, so he said that. Yes, I do know. It seems like you'd even kill our baby for your career. And then she does the slap. Why is she supposed to be the bad... Why is she... I mean, why is Nick the bad guy in this? Why is she the good guy? Because this is so terribly done. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. It's... I don't know. Man, it's terribly written. That's what it is. And then... Nick, forgive me, I lost my temper. So, this indicates that this is possibly... This is how she reacts in the most violent of situations. Or I guess most angry situations. And we know that because she does this. She yells at him and then, like, gets up in his face and, like, points a finger in his face. This is a warning sign for when she does that. And one interesting detail here... Oh, no, never mind. The nails, or the claws, I guess you want to say, are emphasized throughout that, I guess. But that's, like, super emphasized right there, the claw. And then that happens. Okay. Just look at how he reacts. Just do I really need to say... Oh God, just read this. Nick, I beg you, please forgive me. You don't need to do that. I didn't want to hurt you. Yeah, but you did, you fuck. You already hurt him. And I'm not just talking about verbally and emotionally. You've manipulated him, you've shouted down to him, and now you've assaulted him. It doesn't matter if you didn't mean to do it. You didn't want to. Yes, you did. You 100% wanted to do that. It's why you did it. Because that's how you reacted. You lost your temper. And you know what that means? Your whole build up to this, by his small little comments, is what caused you to do that. You want to do that because that's how you react when you're angry. Or at least how Borba writes you. He didn't hit back. He just walked off silently. And what's annoying about this is that... Another thing about the comments and the readers who cannot understand this, and we're going to go over some of the comments if I manage to find the thing. Calling Nick immature. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Like, seriously? Fuck you. Please don't leave me this way. I need you. I need you more than ever. Trust me when I say I still love you. That is... Oh my God, that's abusive. That is abusive, and I will tell you why. You have assaulted someone, and now they have found the... You have assaulted, berated, and basically abused someone in a toxic way to where now they find the strength to leave. And you're trying to get them to stay, trying to manipulate them further because you don't want them to have to... You don't want them to leave you Because either A, you are afraid that they will tell other people, or B, you know that you will not have someone else that you can push your problems off onto. That's what you've been doing. Judy, what would have happened if your mother, while pregnant with you, had decided to interrupt her pregnancy? Nick, it's useless. I know what I'll tell you what would have happened if you hadn't been born, Judy. This world would be as bleak as ever, and without your light, I'd still be on the streets living a meaningless life. Nick, that's not true, Nick. I'm sure you would, Judy. Listen, there are people who make a difference in the world, and you are one of them. Even being a little bunny, you stopped an absurdly nasty conspiracy and helped change the minds and hearts of millions. To me, things like these could never happen without you, Nick. He makes a good point here. Literally, the only reason Nick has a better position in his life is because Judy came along and actually cared to try to do something, and they both got swept up in these series of events. It was because of the chance meeting between the two of them. It is because of Judy. For God's sake, Judy, give this unborn child the opportunity to do the same. I beg you, please let your light continue to shine through him or her. Ooh, wow. Transphobia, wow. Sure, that's exactly what makes them so terrible. Yeah, transphobia is exactly what... No, that's not happening there. I'm non-binary. I get to make that comment. I don't know why. The more I thought about that, just the more I thought about that stupidly, I'm not binary. I get to make that joke. The more I thought about that, I sound fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. Okay. Let's get back to this comic. Okay. No, as I said before, it's useless. Sorry, Nick, but I've made up my mind. My body, my rules. I see. Any chance you might change your mind? No, Nick. Neither will I. So, that's an interesting thing to note there. He has given her, at least in this instance, two different instances to consider differently. And she's just like, no. I've already made up my mind. I'm not changing it. She's like, fine. I won't change my mind. I'm leaving. And then she keeps going after him. Honestly, there's not much more to talk about this. Do you want to talk? Well, there's something I'd like to know. Why didn't you keep a secret from me? I mean, why didn't you just get rid of our child without me knowing anything? It wouldn't be the most honest thing to do. Fair enough. Thought you deserved to know. It'd been better for us, if you just kept me in the dark about your premeditated sin. Goodbye, Judy. Yeah, that's a little bit immature, I'll be honest. The way that he's talking about it like that, that's kind of stupid. Yeah, that's fair. I will agree with the comments there. That's kind of stupid. But still, do we not want to acknowledge that he has the fucking that on his face? The mark is there. Well, not much else I have to say about that. Except let me read this. Nothing lasts forever, even an apparently everlasting love that has triumphed over the odds and many challenges may eventually come to an end. Fuck off. Let's see some of the comments here. When I was talking about the comments, I was talking about the DeviantArt comments. Because the DeviantArt comments on the repost are just fucking frustrating. Right, oh no, there's some comments in here, some terrifying ones. Wait, hold on. Wow, now I believe that women should have the right to choose, but that hit me in the feels, especially because I was one of the... What the fuck? feel like the message would be real and legitimate if they hadn't been dumbasses and used fucking animals. That's just nasty. Why are there so many, like, dead memes in here? What the fuck is going on? Why is Yvette Austin here? What the fuck is this dude? Okay, Austin. It's shit. Thank you, Ethan. Oh, shit. Speaking of shit, I just moved myself by accident. Well, you saw behind the scenes. Welcome to behind the scenes. I do terrible things here. I'm the tech guy after all. Nick's completely out of character here, and Judy is basically being punished for something she's completely in the right about. What? Oh, so there are stupid comments in here. What do you mean? What do you mean Judy's completely in the right here? Alright, hold on. Even though you are right about Judy being the right... What? What do you mean? I'm willing to bet, is probably what they're meaning to say. Bet she doesn't feel the same way by the time the last panel come around and the only other person to truly believe in her walks out. Yeah, she won't have to give birth to a possible abomination. Fuck you. Yeah, she'll get to keep doing her job, but at what cost? She's likely never going to see Nick again. She's going to have to explain why he's not around anymore to her parents and her coworkers and probably catch a lot of flack from them. Then word will likely reach the public. And I'm sure the press would love to ruin Judy's reputation as a city hero. Yeah, that's a good point, Praxis. Judy refusing to have this child for the reasons she did probably just ruined her reputation. But not in Borba's world. Not in Borba's world. Hold on, one sec. Oh boy. I need to look at the DeviantArt comments because some of these are stupid as well. You are completely allowed to think that it is a bad comment, but if you do, don't just say it is shit. Talk about what you dislike about the comment, how to improve, it makes for a good conversation. Yeah, I kind of did. I did. This was this whole hour and 17-minute video. Or it's probably going to be longer. Forgot to add, if your partner leaves you because he can't respect the basic my body, my rule, then he's shit, lol, you're better off without... What? What? Hold on, Jade. Hold on. So, can't respect you on the basic my body, my rules thing. But she couldn't respect any of his decisions, any of his opinions. She took away his decisions before he ever got any options. She insulted and berated him. An insult was more subtext, if anything. She assaulted him. And when given multiple chances to reconsider and talk this through, she decides to say no. And then after he decides to leave, she's like, no, okay, fine, let's talk about this. Like, no, bitch, you made the decision. You went too far. Fuck off. Actually, Praxis, not having to bleed to death from giving birth to a baby that's too big for her is worth losing. Asshole BF. What? Who will judge her and call her a sinner for it. I mean, fair, I guess, but like, if the cost is having to say goodbye to someone who completely ignores your concerns and thinks you're a bad, selfish person for not wanting a kid and thinks he can dictate what you do with your own body, then that cost is... Excuse me? What? What? Am I crazy? These people can't read! Wow, I thought we needed to go to the DeviantArt comments, but no! We're seeing them here! We're seeing them here! Hold on, wait. It's not choosing a career over the only person that believed in you. She didn't leave Nick. He left her over the idea of a baby. I, I guess, yeah. And she chose her career over a dangerous pregnancy and becoming a mother. Why was that emphasized? The issue isn't that she loves work more than Nick, is that she loves work more than she wants to raise another human life. Yes and no. She values her job, her career, and her public appearance more than she does the life of her family and her own life. Not her life specifically. She values her public image more than she does her family, and that's selfish. Nick didn't leave her for this one incident. Nick wants to be a father, and Judy made it clear that it wouldn't happen in this relationship. I think it's more than that. Nick left her because she's abusive and controlling. If poop could crap and crap could shit, this would be it. Nice. I'm not moved, and the characters are forced into roles, saying things they wouldn't say. Yeah, that. Other than maybe some lines Nick said, yeah, you're completely correct. When you write with characters so fleshed out, going against the grain of their persona in such a drastic way makes it purely unconvincing. You are right. You are right. My body, my rules. Then take precautions or get the fuck out. I don't know. That's a little weird. Send the man. Did you even read the comic? Judy is a rabbit. Nick is a fox pregnant. Should be impossible. Never in the history had two. What? What? Did you read it? Longtail, did you read it? Did you read the comic? There's no confirmation. But they showed examples of different species, fox and wolf, moose and deer, that clearly had babies. The literal only difference is one is a prey animal and another is a predator, if that's what you mean. And even then, knowing different species were together should have been enough to be cautious. Did you read the fucking thing, Longtail? That was trash, and we think someone that really loved and cared for you would force you to choose your work or them, then you never fully cared about them. This cartoon is abomination. Way to demonize what a typically hard and much more involved process. Also, there's nothing wrong with someone simply not wanting to have a damn child. I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to have a child, but the reasons Judy gave were stupid, and the way that she handled that was really stupid. This really is shit, though. Thank you. I don't even know why it is a thing right now. It is all out of character and weird, but of course, all the teens and kids in the fandom will freak at you for going against them. Okay, cool. guys, you're fighting about a damn webcomic nonetheless. Borba has an open bridge. It's damn webcomic. You know, that's kind of true. It's a fucking webcomic. That is true. But I can still criticize it. Why couldn't the fan base in this movie stick to furry porn? Nice. I'm gonna move oh my god, not move myself. I'm not gonna move myself there. Okay. Let's do that. I'm gonna move this slightly so you can actually see the comments fully, because this is where I'm gonna end. I'm gonna read comments and I'm gonna end it here, and we're gonna do a part 2 later on, because I'm tired right now. We're going to do a part 2 where we read Born to Be Alive, where it gets worse. I don't respect the fact that she said my body, my rules, only because it's a selfish thought, but I can't say I wouldn't say something like that if I was in that situation. In my opinion, it's pro-life. I agree with Nick. Give that child a chance at life. If she doesn't love that child, I'm sure Nick or someone else will. She will tear herself apart if she loses Nick. I guess what it boils down to is what does she love more, Nick, her job, herself, or her child? The answer is not for me to decide, so I will leave it. Okay. Yeah. I understand not wanting the child, and look, I'm not here to say, oh, you can't decide for yourself. You have to be pro-life. No, trust me. I think there's a lot of stupid people out there who are pro-life. I think that a lot of arguments that are pro-life are very stupid. I think there's a lot of stupid pro-life arguments like that completely restrict women's choices. I think that's fucking stupid. But it's examples in here. This is a comic that you could accidentally pass off as a pro-life comic. You could pass this comic off as a pro-life comic. That's how stupid and terribly executed this is. Because little do you know, this is supposed to be a pro-choice comic. And you may not know that, mostly because it's a comment Borba responded to that basically was saying that it was like indirect, unofficially saying basically that it was pro-choice. I mean, why has God left us? Agreed. Why did you wait? You put it twice. Ass. Nice. I don't think anything was being forced. Nothing else. Despite the fact that she slapped him. What do you mean? It was kind of a forced choice to begin with. You told him that you're pregnant, and you're instantly saying, "No, I'm getting rid of it." In the same minute. Yes, she has the right to not have the child, but he also has the right to leave. Sure, it might seem like a dick move, and to some, it's a dick move for Judy to not have the child. All in all, it's fake, and no one in the comment is wrong except for the assault. It's a heavy debate, really. The assault, 100% wrong. And as soon as she did that, I no longer had sympathy for Judy. I am no longer on Judy's side. I'm sorry. If a mother can opt out of parenthood, why can't a man? Good point. How the fuck is she in the right? She is killing their child. Abortion is a terrible thing to do unless you've been raped. End of story. I don't know. You know what? I don't entirely agree with you. Like, sure, you don't actually have to have the child if you don't want it. I'm not here to say that she has to have the child. I'm here making fun of how stupid her argument is. How abusive and toxic she is. That's my whole thing. I think Judy, in Borba's world, is a terrible, toxic person who does not deserve Nick in the slightest. But I am not saying that I want this. I'm not saying she has to have the baby. I'm saying her arguments and her reasons for it are really selfish and really stupid. If you don't want a child, then take fucking precautions. Don't kill a child because you made a mistake or a bad choice. Pro-choice people made me sick. Sorry to tell you this, but the baby is in its first month. I don't really consider that a baby yet. I think that's just a clump of cells. You could you could easily have an abortion for that. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just reality. There's no baby there yet. It's just a tumor. That's just a tumor. I'm just saying. It's just a tumor. Anyways. Kenny Rain, are you serious? I mean, to bleed to death from giving birth to a baby that's too big for Isworth. Hold on. If the cost of it, just think about it to someone who completely ignores. First of all, why the fuck would you say that Nick's an asshole for calling her a sinner? You say that Nick thinks that Judy is so selfish for not wanting the baby. She's willing to give up her baby for a job. She didn't want the baby because she thought it would be too big. Second, who the hell said that he is controlling what she can do with her body? I didn't see Nick force her to have the baby. I didn't see him physically abusing her. He gave her a choice. She could keep the baby and stay with Nick with a chance at losing her job, or she could abort the baby, keep her job, but lose Nick. That could be forever. She obviously picked wrong. I don't know. How she picked was wrong, but her choice, My issue is not what she picked, it's how she picked. Third of all, you think that Nick didn't care about her concerns. If he didn't care about her concerns, I'm pretty sure that Judy wouldn't have told him Nick even asked why she didn't do it behind his back. You need to open your eyes and double check your answers. It's basic that everyone learned in school. That is a fucking stupid sentence. All right. Did this get copy pasted? You are reading this. Fuck off. But then look at it this way. You know sex will bring a child if precautions aren't taken, so why do people risk it? I feel they should at least take precautions instead of killing off a new life every time you want to have unprotected sex. That's true. Plus STDs and other things like that's a decent argument. Like, if you're gonna have unprotected sex, at least like take a contraceptive, or is that the right word? I don't know. Or like morning after pill or something. Take some, like a pill. It takes like 2 seconds. You swallow the pill with water. It's really not that hard. It's a pill. Or unless I'm stupid and it's like something you put up you afterwards. I don't fucking know. I I don't have a vagina. I'm sorry. You can't fuck my pussy. I don't have one. But like just that's a good point. Why didn't you just take a contraceptive or put on a condom or something? That's kind of your own fault. You are in the wrong, Judy, because regardless of the fact of you didn't think you'd get pregnant, you didn't wear protection. That's on you. Neither of you chose to wear protection. That's on you. Or maybe you know what? I don't know that. I can't confirm that. But from what it sounds like, there wasn't a concern to have protection. Wait, hold on. Oh, this is not. Oh no, I'm reading further and it's not. It's about to get worse. Like Nick said, wait. I'm gonna just read this normally. A life is just too precious for it to be whisked away like it's nothing. Like Nick said in the webcomic, people are born into this world for a reason. That aborted child could have changed so many lives, but because of abortion, didn't have that chance. Even if a woman was raped by someone and got pregnant, that child has nothing to do with what the situation she went through. Oh no. Oh no. Are you saying that even if they're raped, they should not be allowed to have the abortion? Because, wow, okay, no, fuck you. Just fuck you. That's all I'm gonna say. Just fuck you. So why, why is it that the unborn child has to die because of something like that? Life's too precious to be thrown away like trash. I mean, to be completely fair, it was Nick and Judy's fault. It was both of their faults. It's ultra shit. Oh my god, these comments are hilarious. Everyone just playing along with this meme as if it's sound means of conveyance, but for the topic of abortion, I mean, I guess if we're taking this seriously, I'll bite. All Judy did was say she didn't know if there would be pregnancy complications, expressed concerns over having their child because it could possibly be a freak, and then said she valued her job more than her child. She did not humor the idea of going to a professional and attempting to see if it was even possible to carry the child to a term before deciding on abortion. Yeah, you are 100% correct. That is what she did, and what she didn't do. All Nick tried to do was save a life. Maybe their relationship with the child could have lasted. Maybe it still would have ended. Maybe they could reconcile. Maybe not. But the completely innocent third party here, the child, would still have a chance at life regardless. You people are so gross and morally stunted. I hope your parents are ashamed of you, Lamau. I think that's a good place to end. I don't. When you're able to seamlessly end your way of telling these people no, you readers are fucking crazy, and end it off seamlessly with a Lamau. Oh my god, that's a perfect way we end this. So yeah, we're gonna end it here. That was a close reading, or I guess critical look at the first of 2 Zootopia comics I will be looking at in the Zootopia I Will Survive Borba series. I, I think it's called the Trilogy of Life. I genuinely don't know. I don't remember. It was probably mentioned, but uh, next time, which will probably be relatively soon, but I don't know, we will be looking at Born to Be Alive. Uh, if you didn't like this, it gets worse. It gets worse, folks. Remember, I'm working under the assumption that everyone here has already read this stuff, and we're more or less just doing a close reading. So, thank you all for coming along to an episode of Critical Look Corner. This is a small little series I'll be doing off and on, just looking at reading and stuff. Trying to take a closer look instead of filling up these streams with unnecessary rants and closer reads. I'll be doing it in smaller little things here. So, thank you all. This has been Lucid Creator, and I haven't done this on this channel before, but keep smiling, keep trying, and stay creative. Have a wonderful day.